Alright, today we are at the park. We've got the gate set up over there, as you can see, and we have our drone we have built. We will be trying to get our tune perfect and dialed in, ready for nationals, which is in 4 days. So we've got it. Time for the control flight. Let's see how it goes. Alright, let's set up the GoPro here. We've got it ready to go. This is the control. We'll set that back in the shade so there's no glare. Alright, and this is on a 60% throttle cap. Let's see how we go. Alright, so that is the control flight done on a 60% throttle cap. It was alright. I don't need to fix up that gate there. It's just weird to fly. Alright, so after our control flight, it is done pretty good. It sounded a bit choppy, and then the motors got a bit hot, which I decided I'd have a look at my AC settings and see they weren't quite great. So I've had it fitted with them. I've changed nothing else. Let's see how it looks, how it feels, and how it sounds before we move on to really dialing it in. So for the GoPro down here so you can get a bit of audio. And I'm going to black box log this one as well. So black box log on. Alright, so that actually felt pretty good. It felt pretty dialed in. The motors aren't as warm. Oh, that one's a bit warm. Alright, so I've got the black box logs. Yeah, black box logs. Let's have a look at that now. Alright, so we got our black box logs. Give it a sec. Right here. To open them, let's click on mass storage devices. Alright. That's the one we're going to want. It's the most recent. Click on it, and because I've already got Black Box Explorer open, we just click enter. Give it a second. Alright, here we go. Let's full screen this. Now we can have a look. It's responding pretty well to what we're telling it to. Alright, now this is where we want to look at our resonance. This is how we do our free filters. So we've got frequency versus throttle, and we have all our filters. So as you can tell, anything below 200 Hertz is kind of, we don't want to worry about. But we've got a nice big chunk at 400 Hertz, so we kind of want to put a filter there. So what I'll do, take a picture of that one on my phone to remember it, and go back into Betaflight and have a look from there. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into our filters, and then we are just going to check that. So min, max, we'll bump up the Q factor a tiny bit, and then we're going to check that lines up with our picture. Alright, so we've had a look at that. Now what we're going to do is unplug it, whack it out of track. Yes, I'm sunburnt, I know. We'll whack it around the track again, take it for a spin. We have changed our Q factor on our filtering, and let's see how it sounds. Let's rock and roll. So we'll go chuck it on the floor and see what's up. Grab the controller. Same again, we're on 60% throttle limit. Right, definitely sound a lot better. We'll quickly look at the logs. I won't worry about showing you again because it's the same as I just showed you. However, it felt a bit drifty in the air, so that's what we're going to try and work on next. Alright, so while we're out here, I'm also going to be changing some of the ESC settings. This really helps with the power to the motors, and then from there, our filters and PIDs will just sit on top of that. So what I'm going to do, just change the startup power down to under 15. That'll just lower how much it is. I'm actually going to change a fixed PWM frequency of 36 kilohertz. which sets it right in the middle, helps with prop wash and helps to be nice and responsive. Alright, this is a 60% throttle cap once again, all same settings as the last video. However, we have changed the PWM frequency to a fixed 36. Set that up, so let's see how it goes. Alright. We'll also turn the black box log on and change our LEDs to blue, because I'm feeling like blue. Alright, that felt pretty good. Now we're going to do is make it feel locked in the air. So, sounds good, it flies well, but it's like delayed, just doesn't feel tuned in. Alright, motors are still a bit warm, so I'll have a look at that, which will be done in our PIDs and our filters, which are actually pretty good stock. I might just change them down a bit. Let's get that now. Alright, so the first part we are going to do is we're just going to do a preset which helps with it knowing the correct receiver I'm using, like the amount of frequency. It does this because we need it to match the refresh rate it'll be running at. So the first bit we're going to do is PID tuning. So the reason what we'll be doing in PID tuning is turning stuff down. The reason we're doing this is because it'll help us dial in what we need. So the first thing we turn down is, let me look at my notes. So we need to turn stick response to 0, dynamic dampening to 0, drift wobble. Here's our list right here. Alright, so let's do that now. Stick response 0, dynamic dampening 0, drift wobble 0, high time relax and anti-gravity all off, and we save that. So now we go give that a fly, and what we'll slowly do is move the dampening slider down. Let's do that. Alright, so these are the settings for the next one. We have everything at 1 and then those ones at 0. Let's see what it looks like. Alright, we've turned all those things to 0 and we've got that to 1. Now we're going to be doing our test flight to see what it looks like. So we'll also listen because it's really good. We just want to turn it down until we hear a woof woof sound, that type thing, after we spin, and then again. Sounds weird, but that's what it sounds like. Alright, now we're just going to keep changing that down, and I'll show the video from the goggles until we start seeing a bit of overshoot. Alright, so I'm back on the GoPro after being on the goggles. We have gotten our dampening. Now we have dragged the master multiplier up to 1.1. We'll do a test. If 1.1 is good, which I reckon it will be because I'm just feeling good, we're then finding our eye gain, which is under the drift wobble thing. So we'll slowly start dragging that up. This is what we're gonna do, and if I consult my notes, like what I wrote in my folio, it will just get rid of the flies. It will make it spin better. Alright, so we've dragged this one up to 1.1. Now we are up to changing our feed forward, so that is the stick response slider. We'll slowly drag that up. I'm thinking I'm going to start with around 1. We'll see how it feels and we'll drag it up from there. Alright, we have dragged the master multiplier up a click. We'll do 30 seconds and then be back on the ground to test. Right, so let's keep dragging the stick response slider up by 0.1 each time, and unfortunately some little kids put up 2 jumps. Oh well, so what I'm doing is I'll let them know and I'll take off and fly over behind the building over there. Stay away from them. Alright, so I've just grabbed it back and the motors are boiling, which means we need to crank that stick response back down. They are really hot. Alright, the next one, dynamic dampening. Change that to 1, and then from there we can also check this. So yeah, we want to slowly keep it a little bit lower, so I'm going to slowly drag it down. Alright, so I just change the dynamic dampening. I feel like it is a little bit too dampened, so what we're going to do is just change that down and see how we go. Alright, so we have now gone through our dampening, all of this. We've dragged our multiplier up, check our pitch tracking up a bit, yaddy daddy da, check if we want this back on. Nope. Nope. Alright. We have clocked our motor throttle boost, jitter reduction. Now we'll take it for its final test to see how it goes. Right, this is a test of the final tune around our track with a 60% throttle cap. let's take it for a spin. The only downside I have right now is the motors are getting a bit warm. However, they're not that hot when you think about it. So, my controller, flick it so it logs, whack that there so you can hear. Let's go. They're still coming? Oh my god. Yep.
Come on, you don't want to lose if you're actually fucking pushing it. That wasn't anyone in front of you. Look, come on. Break some shit. Fight it. What the fuck? You're boring. You don't want to lose if you're not pushing. That's so